Yeah. We're moving on, guys. So my favorite actress working today, Candace Cameron Bure. There, I got it right.
An absolute smoke show, according to Brett.
Oh wow, I haven't seen her in ages, and she is beautiful.
She is still she's a gorgeous woman. She is heading up. She's the main spokesperson behind Great American Family, which has become the fastest growing network on cable, according to the head of the network. So basically, it's proof that identity politics is astroturfed, and what people want is to watch Christmas movies.
You know what else is astroturfed? JoJo Siwa's annoying ass getting on Candace Bure's back about this, saying that she is hateful and excluding people when all she wants to do is participate in an independent organization that doesn't want to feed into this Hollywood inclusivity lobby.
What I've realized,
just because they're not a part of your thing doesn't mean that they're bigoted against you.
What I've realized is that Candace Cameron Bure, I have to say it that way now because I kept calling her Burr, and everyone's like, that's not pronounced Burr. When they're making something, when people like the people who have moved on to make this network, Great American Family, when they're making something, they're making it from a place of love. They found something they want to do. They found stories they want to tell. They have values they want to portray, and they want to go forth with love and portray them to the world. The people that want to do stuff from the lens of identity politics or from the lens of inclusivity, they don't do it with love. They do it with the idea of conquering social status.
There's so much mean girl mentality against Candace Bure right now.
You know?
There's so much hate behind and it's funny because what they're pushing is a supposed message of love. Look, we're inclusive. We want to do this, but they do it with so much vitriol and disdain for people that it's very clear that and I think that maybe more than anything, I don't think it's as much that people don't agree with them. It's that everyone has a radar for when somebody's not being authentic with them. And it just comes across as inauthentic when someone says like, we're all about inclusivity. And then you go, okay, I'm going to go over here and do this. Or and then they follow you over there and say, aren't you going to do what we're doing?
In case you haven't heard about this story before though, basically Great American Family branched off from Hallmark when Hallmark got in trouble for having a commercial that had a same-sex kiss in it. Some of their audience just didn't agree with that being shown in an ad on the network, and they think it should be more family-friendly and traditional. So they broke off. They made their own thing. Candace Bure says, we're going to keep traditional marriage at the core when she was asked if it would be inclusive of LGBT couples.
They literally just come to you and say, are you going to do what we want? And then yell at you if you don't.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And then JoJo Siwa, and then a laundry list of all of these other, including Hallmark actors and actresses, just came out and started spitting hate at Candace Bure, saying that she is this, she's this bigoted, it's calling her all sorts of names that I can't repeat.
While being vile to her.
Yes.
Being utterly vile to her. And she's smiling, offering you cookies. And
the ultimate thing that enrages them is how unbothered she is and how, she just doesn't care about the backlash enough to respond.
She's literally the living embodiment of those live, laugh, love plaques that you see in
but in a totally sincere way, not in a cynical way at all.
I make the joke a lot of time. One of the common threads that a lot of my friends that are atheists with the memes they post, it's there's nobody meaner to you than a mom just after church at brunch, to the waiter. She's the opposite of that. She seems to be all about her core values, and she just wants to go forth. She doesn't want to tell you what you believe is wrong. She wants to tell you why what she believes is great.
Right.
What's especially enjoyable about this story is how we just covered G4 TV's utter failure. They are the least popular network of all of 2022.
I wrote take that
126th ranked on a 126 channel long list.
I literally
they were the lowest viewed of the whole year.
You had to see that coming.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
so it's just what wins? Genuine creativity or hatred and vitriol?
Yeah.
Genuine creativity, of course. But I mean, you look at Chrissy Mayer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She does podcast stuff. She didn't have a really big online presence until that Frost imitation.
Yep.
She did that Frost imitation, and then her channel just shot through. I mean, she'd been doing all right, she'd been doing a live stand up and stuff like that, but she wasn't a podcast or anything. And she, as soon as that happened, she did that thing. She got on Nerdrotic for the weekend, and man, she Frost made her into a a YouTube star.
It's kind of like how Johnny Depp, like a lot of people built YouTube careers off the Johnny Depp trial. Like they had they would either cover the trial, or there was people that dedicated a lot of views. Like you can definitely like build a career off certain stories and stuff like that. So
I mean,
sorry, do you guys smell something burning?
No, it's a stink
candle.
bug.
No, the candle went out.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No. Never mind.
I do smell it though.
So it says, so this is the press release that came out from the network. It says, Great American Family closed out the fourth quarter of 2022 as the fastest growing network in all of cable television. In only its second year, the emerging leader in original Christmas movies ranked number 1 in total day rating growth in households, people 18 to 49. That's very interesting because you would think that this would skew older. Like you really would.
Yeah.
You wouldn't imagine that they would hold weight in that 18 to 49 category. But I'm picturing like a bunch of moms getting ready to go to Target while watching these movies. They're literally like they're
the ladies that get really excited to go to Target and get a pumpkin spice latte.
Exactly.
And they all like wear an infinity scarf.
And here's the thing. I don't believe that any of those women, like those mid 20s to early 30s millennial women, I don't think that they have a problem with inclusivity. I think they just like they're not connected to the news cycle. They don't know what's going on between Lifetime and Great American Family, and they just want to watch a Christmas movie. And there's a market that needs to be filled. Great American Family's filling that market. It's got nothing to do with ideology. It has to do with, do you know what your audience is, and can you provide a product that will fill that need? What they're doing at Lifetime is being blackmailed into believing that there is an audience there that isn't, and then filling the need for something that it doesn't need to be filled in the first place.
I'm not so sure that they're getting blackmailed into trying to fill a need that isn't there. Well,
more of a need. That's okay. Not that there isn't a need.
I think you're right in that I think you're right that it's blackmail, but I think that they're also aware that there isn't really a market for it. I think that the reason they're doing it is because other people have an ideological message they want to push, and it's not about trying to fill a need. It's just about making something. They're being blackmailed into make something to push an agenda, not fill I don't think there's a lot of desire for that in the market nowadays.
I don't know if the CEO necessarily thinks of it that way. He's being told, look, people want this to be done. He sees it as like a write-off. He's like, look, we got to do it because if we don't, the bad press will bring us down and stuff like this. But once they get you, and that's one of the scary things about these types of activists is like once they come for you, the best thing that you can do is to do your own thing and not care, because if you try to pretend like they don't exist, they get to you eventually.
They
would always have come for Hallmark. It's just or Lifetime. How long would it take to get there? Especially with when they want to tear down traditional family structures, that was always going to be some type of
like it's not even about like traditional family structures per se, but like this backlash is all about hating any content with an ounce of sincerity in it these days. Like nothing can be just sincere and wholesome and what it appears to be upon first glance. Everything has to have some twist. It has to be satirical, cynical, dark and gritty for some reason.
And so over dark,
subverting your expectations. But sometimes people just want to watch something simple that makes them feel good. And that is the product they're selling.
2023 should be the year where we do not subvert expectations, where we do not get cynical and dark and gritty. Nobody, like, to me, it feels like there was a really interesting article that was written that after the election in 2016, where when they brought back House of Cards, they said, this show worked a lot better before the dark cloud of Donald Trump became upon us. The idea being that, like, you could tell this type of story when everything seemed hunky-dory and fine. Like, I want to get back to a time where we don't need everything to reflect some dark, gritty, supposed reality, because it's not reality. It's a stunted writer's version of what they think reality is. And as we just learned with Wentworth Miller, like what you imagine the world to be isn't necessarily true. It's colored by your own perceptions. So, especially in the idea of like Hallmark movies or like Christmas movies, dark and gritty Christmas love stories. Does anybody really want that? No, not really. That'd be funny though. Somebody should, actually, never mind. Somebody should try and do that. I want to see the dark, gritty Christmas Lifetime movie reboot. Yeah, well, yeah, but that's actually like that was Home Alone meets Die Hard. Like what we need is like the dark and gritty romance movie. No, that's not a thing, and nobody needs your stories to be changed that greatly.
My hope is that now that Lindsay Lohan is making her acting comeback, she might show up on Great American Family instead of Hallmark.
Well, they got Danica McKellar. She's really great. Me and Lindsay Lohan, birthday twins, day and year.
Love that for you.
Yep.
Also, in regard to responding to a mob that's been mobilized against you as a public figure or somebody who's just been cornered into the position of being a public figure, would you say that like the approach of a Gina Carano that we were just talking about is better or worse than the approach of Candice Bure? When I read Candice Bure's statements, it's like she literally says, if you hate me, I love you.
Kill him with kindness.
Jojo Siwa, I love you.
Yeah.
Who else was it? Hillary Burton.
Hillary.
I love you.
That was the
if you send me vitriol, I love you. Yeah. And then Gina Carano takes more of like a hardline like standing up for herself. Yeah. And she's pointing out the truth still, but it's in a different tone.
I think context matters. Yeah. I think depending on what the argument they're making is, what you're being accused of, because if it's a straw man, and if they're taking something that happened and making it out to be something that it's not, then you should never back down or anything. I do think that it's probably a smart thing to like take the high road, right, and say, okay, I'm not going to fight with people, blah 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 blah. But it's never a good idea. Like I said, it's never a good idea to apologize.
Yeah.
Say, I love you. I know that some people differ. Being, if you want to be wholesome and nice about it, especially if you're talking about something for like the Hallmark Channel, it's probably better to be, the emulate Jesus or whatever you want to call it, right? If you're not, then it might be a better move to go after them and be like, you know what? Let's get into it. But it all depends on the context, and it depends on what product you are offering.
Yeah.
Because if you're, again, Hallmark, you're not going to be like, let's get down in the mud, right? But if I'm putting out a metal record and someone wants to go blah, 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 I'm like, I tell you what, let's do this, because I'm in a metal band, it's like rock and roll people are expected to misbehave.
Yeah, but like hardline rule, don't say sorry.
Yeah, don't say sorry. Don't ever apologize.
It would have been weird for Gina Carano to be like, I'm going to love you anyways. Like the
Rainbows
MMA fighter, rainbows, puppies, and she bakes
thing.
them cookies and stuff like that. That wouldn't have worked for her. Everyone has to find their own style for dealing with this kind of pushback, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, what do they say? Like, happy people will stay beautiful longer. That's why Candace Cameron Bure looks so good at her age, because she's nice and kind and smiles for everyone. So she's like,
you're just in love.
God is preventing those frown lines.
Thank you.
Whoa.
2.
I was looking at the meter. I'm like, oh no, it jumped.
Boom.
Any second now.
Crisis actors.
Love the low bois at the end.
The bois. So it's like for her, I don't think it would have worked for her to do a different approach, but I don't think anyone's is going to expect that. Also, stay off Twitter, because even the best person can be brought down to their level if they try you enough, right? Anybody can be having a bad, she's not perfect. I'm sure she has a bad day, and some days she's just like, I hate these people yelling at me all the time. And I'm sure it hurts her feelings when somebody like a Hillary Burton, who used to know her, starts calling her names just because she believes something different than you. No wonder it's so hard for people in Hollywood to admit whether they're religious or not, because they know that if you do admit that, eventually they'll come for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy how fast they start using those degrading names against women or any other marginalized group the second that they differentiate from the rest.
So the Hillary Burton's original quote, she says, now they're just admitting their bigotry. They're just openly admitting their bigotry. I called this S out years ago when Abbott was at Hallmark. That's the guy who started Great American Family. Glad they dumped him. Being LGBTQ isn't a trend. That guy and his network are disgusting. You are too candy. There is nothing untraditional about same-sex couples. She didn't say that. All she said was that there has to be a label in place to understand what you mean by that, right? Everyone loves labels now. Everyone wants to give super specific labels to everything. While you're talking about poly, this, and that. All she's saying by traditional marriage is that it's not same-sex couples. That's not inherently rude, mean, or in any way divisive. She's just giving you a describing factor of what they're focusing on. Mm-hmm. It's like if you see something, like if you see negativity, you're going to assume it's everywhere. And when you're an unhappy person, you're going to see anger and vitriol everywhere. So I think that's more of a projection from Hillary Burton. But it's good to see that Great American Family has proven that, look, there is... Carter is still upset by the stink bugs. There's still a market for this stuff. And we saw a lot of comments. I saw a lot of people reach out and said that their family started watching this channel after channels like ours were talking about it. So is there a summer analogy for these types of channels? Does Hallmark have a summer season? Like if Christmas movie season is like their big selling point, do they have like a summer version?
I don't know. I have never been into Hallmark movies. You don't? Honestly. I had a ton of friends who loved them because they were like the Christian Girl Autumn representatives. Like those girls are still out there. Like it's not all blue-haired liberals, you know?
There's a YouTuber there's a guy on Instagram named Max, the Very Good Boy, who does great Hallmark pitch meetings where he pitches the movies and it's all the same movie. Mm-hmm. You just change a couple of things about it and it's great. So thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.